On the Radio is brought to you by Zurich Insurance, the perfect place to catch up with all things Melbourne. If you enjoy this content and want more inside access from the team, make sure you visit the club website.
Back on the winners list, and I'm sure that is a very, very pleasing result for the skipper of the D's, Max Gawn, who's joined us on Sunday Sport. Good afternoon, Max.
Hello, Harp and boys. That was... Track spoke well there. That's the best I've heard.
It must be all that work you've been doing with him one-on-one on the side, Max.
Yes, correct. It's paying off.
How's Sunday morning after a win, Max? What's it like in hub life after a win?
Yeah, it's good. It's I was thinking that when I was walking off the ground last night. It's a much better way to start the hub than a loss, quite obviously, but. Sydney's turned it on for us this morning and produced a beautiful morning to get into the beach and do some recovery as well, which is good. And now we sort of kick back on Sunday in the hotel, maybe watch a little bit of the UFC this afternoon and get ready for the week to take on the Hawks back at Spotless.
Max, Jimmy Bartel here. Well done on the win, and your own form's been super. Do you think, in a way, the hub has come at the right time for the Demons? You're out of the big Melbourne bubble and the heat coming on you guys. Do you think it's a good time to get away and just embrace, that team spirit sort of stuff?
Yeah, I do think that, but I also think if we're relying on the hubs to get away from the noise and to get out of a 1-3 little situation that we found our way in, we're not going to be a sustainable football hub going forward. So, the hub has come at a good time, but I dare say we would have been able to turn this form around if we stayed in Melbourne as well. Well, I certainly hope so, because that's where the majority of our football will be played in years going forward. So it's a good chance for us to get together for, it's an indefinite amount of weeks that we're potentially in these northern states for, but there will be a good chance to sort of build that camaraderie we might not have got back at home, but we certainly want to be playing that football when we're in Melbourne as well.
Yeah, it certainly looked like you had a fair bit of spirit and energy about you guys, and you do cop as a club a fair bit of heat in recent times because of the expectation, of a couple of years ago. But does it mean more or sting more when it's a former great of your club, when David Schwartz says that you guys are irrelevant? Does it hurt more when it comes from sort of one of your own?
I wasn't aware that David Schwartz came at us as well. No, to be fair, to be completely honest, I've been up in Manly and sort of just got off the radar from the football world. So I've done a couple of media interviews, one with Half, where he filled me in on everything
Good work, Half.
Related to Demon supporters having a go at us. So thanks for that, Half. But
happy to help.
Look, I understand Melbourne supporters are frustrated, and to be fair, I did get Gary Lyons' comments. He was on the mark. We were playing some pretty poor football, and that's how we called it. And we've turned it around now with one game, but it's got to be a sustainable sort of 4 or 5 week brand of football, and actually show people that we are working on some stuff. I mean, people who watched our first quarter yesterday, even the first half, we still were turning over a lot of kicks and playing some similar brand of football to what we were in the first 4 weeks of the season. So it's not going to be a switch overnight, but in terms of there seems to be a lot of former Melbourne greats in the media as well. Must be they go 1 and 1. I remember watching On the Couch a couple of years ago, and I think all 4 people were former Ds. That's just one TV show I just didn't tune into, unfortunately.
Max, Mark Robinson here. Congratulations. It was fun to watch, and it was good to watch the team. Can you enter it or take us into the mindset of some of your players? I've written tomorrow that the way I watched Jack Viney play, I thought he's taken the criticism personally. Everyone was looking at Clayton Oliver and questioning his worth with the pill. Take us into the mindset, can you, of those players this week? Was it just water off a duck's back, or seriously, can players just ignore this fierce criticism that came at them?
I think it'd be different for different people. I mean, I've certainly been someone who hasn't been able to ignore it in the past. But honestly, coming up here has genuinely made me being able to ignore it. For others, I'm sure it'd be different. Jack seems to be the person, no matter how much you throw at him, he'll just take it on the chin and continue to get bigger and stronger. And I think we saw that yesterday. Jack was superb, especially late in the last quarter. Clayton definitely takes the criticism personally at times as well, and you can see when he gets nice and angry when he plays football, he tends to bring out some of his best stuff as well. So people take it differently. I don't think Tom McDonald would even know if anyone is talking about him marking the ball inside 50, because he just doesn't read it and doesn't buy into it and just plays the role that Goody wants him to play. So, I mean, if you asked if I wasn't on the phone right now and you asked Christian Petracca, you probably would have got a completely different answer. That's the difference with mindsets that people have related to noise from external voices.
It was really interesting, and we always talk about leaders, Max, and when the leaders play really well, it can be contagious. And just looking across the board yesterday, players like Mitch Hannon, I thought had a cracking game and maybe his best game of the year. Ed Langdon, your recruit, I thought was pretty good. Jake Lever was playing the sort of football that attracted him to Melbourne. Austin McDonald came in and filled a hole down back, and I thought he was superb. And the young fella Pickett, I reckon he played his best game for the year as well. So, I mean, how much do you put down to say that the leaders leading the way and taking everyone, or not taking everyone, but taking a large proportion of their teammates with them?
There's a couple of good points there. The main one, we've added two sort of people to a refined leadership group with Jake Lever and Jake Melksham over the last couple of weeks, and to both of them, they've both acknowledged that they probably weren't playing the standard of football that they'd want to, and maybe leadership hasn't sat well with them personally, but Jake Lever has done a terrific job. He's, once again, I talk about this noise, but he's avoided the noise and just backed in what he does best, and I think Austin McDonald really did help Jake get back to his best football, and Austin McDonald's one of my favourite stories of the year. Talk about a maligned player. He seems to be every Melbourne supporter's worst player in the team, but he comes in and plays his role, and he was superb last night. Even taking
so just hang on, Max. So just for everyone at home, so you said Oxford came in and really helped Jake. To explain that, what he came in and was able to play one-on-one, take a forward, which allowed Jake to be not the floater, but that person who can spatial defend.
So Oscar, not going to pump him up too much, but Oscar is the best reader of the game from a backline point of view that we have in our team. So he's able to set it up, and if he can set Jake up in the perfect spot, Jake's going to be in the perfect spot more times than not. We still expect Jake to play on a man. That floater role is a good role, but McGovern still plays on a man. Doherty still plays on a man. The guys that are good at it within the AFL, they're just better at reading it. So to have Oscar there to help Jake making sure he makes the right decisions, I think really worked. And it worked with Steve as well. Steve was able to do some good things last night and played in all positions on the ground as well. But I just think Oscar just makes that back line nice and sure. But Oscar's got to make sure he performs as well, and last night he did.
Max, questions in a couple of parts. I think your leadership's been absolutely fantastic, and you touched on it before. Do you feel like after officially being in the role for 6 games, you've changed it all, or you've altered the way you've done things? And further that, are you leaning on anyone in particular? Are you talking to Nathan Jones about how he did it, or anybody else at the club, or even externally?
Yeah, I am in a unique position where I still have 2 former captains at the club. So I definitely use Nathan and Jack a lot. And to be fair, myself and Jack haven't changed a bit from what we were last year. Just the roles have reversed. So it's a very similar dynamic. I was able to get in the team song this week, which was good.
Made it.
I know Robbo came down pretty hard on me for that one, but I was able to make sure the team waited for me.
You hustled.
Well, further to that, Maxie, just before we let you go, and we do appreciate your time on a Sunday afternoon, has it worn on you, the pressure that's been building? You do wear, the captain always wears it more than anyone else, and it hasn't been going well. Has it worn you down a bit, or have you just been able to absorb it and move forward strongly?
It hasn't worn me down yet. I've only been in the role for a few weeks, and it was only two losses. One of them was 16 weeks ago, so I can't really remember that one. But the 2 against Geelong and Richmond, it did get me really frustrated, but frustrated as a player, not necessarily as a captain. But frustration can only last that Sunday, Monday type setup, and then you have to. Same with enjoyment. We can only really live that today, and then you have to get on to next week. And there's no point being a frustrated captain because everyone will see that and everyone will feel that. So you got to sort of, that's the one thing you do have to, readjust and make sure your positive penny going from Tuesday onwards.
Positive
Max.
penny.
Hey, Max, I don't think a player missed some criticism last week. The coach was criticised, even one of his former lieutenants, Craig Jennings, had a bit of a crack at Simon Goodwin. Players were under the pump. The game style was under the pump. What is the one thing that the club did last night that you thought was a massive improvement on?
I thought we held our nerve a little bit better. So my criticism of the team, and to be fair, what majority of criticism around the media trains is that we struggle under pressure, both from our skill execution, game plan execution, and so on. I just felt like, there couldn't have been any more pressure than scores, even 2 losses in a row, and fighting to stay in 2020. And we saw Clayton Oliver hit a kick to Christian Petracca inside 50, then we saw Christian Petracca go back and slot it. We saw Keziah Pickett decide not to have a shot on goal and centre it to Sam Wiedemann. Was it Sam Wiedemann? No, Harley Bennell, who kicked the goal.
Harley Bennell, yeah.
We saw Sam Wiedemann, who's had set shot issues and been out of the team for 5 weeks, stand up in the last quarter and kick a set shot. So you just see things that happened under pressure that makes you think this club certainly has got what it takes. But I'm not delusional to know that we've done it 1 week. So, and the Hawthorn's a great little rivalry that we have as well, so it'll be right on this week. Sunday
at Giant Stadium. Good news is Hawthorn are yet to win at Giant Stadium, so it's a positive result already for the D's in that game. And if there was a time where the conversation came from the headquarters, Maxie, that your 32-day stay might be a bit longer, would that be a problem?
Not from my point of view. Although I have left a wife at home, I am enjoying life up here in Hub Life. We see it as a performance hub, a chance to really have a go at trying to win some games and get closer as a group. I obviously know people will have issues throughout the hub and potentially might need to go back to Melbourne at some point. But I also feel very grateful that I'm able to chase my dream and play football for my life, for my job, and I've got my wife and family still back in Victoria, and it seems like it's not the best place to be at the moment down there. So I'm very grateful, and hopefully the AFL season can keep going forward with no hiccups.
That's what we'd all love. Well done to you and the boys on the W last night, and maybe another one next week against the Hawks. Good luck.
Thanks, Jen.
Max Gawn, the captain of the D's.